Hello, my dear students and friends. Welcome back to my class. I am Professor Urus Ilyas, working in Department of Wildlife Sciences, Aligarh Muslim University, and we were discussing about the biogeochemical cycle. This content has been developed by me and by Dr. Iqbal Imam. So we were discussing about the biogeochemical cycle. So today we'll be discussing about the oxygen cycle. So the flow or rotation of element between the biotic and abiotic domain of an ecosystem is known as biogeochemical cycle. The oxygen cycle is a fundamental biogeochemical cycle that plays a crucial role in maintaining oxygen balance in our Earth atmosphere and sustain life on our planet. So oxygen is very essential to survive. We can still survive without water for some day, but with oxygen, I don't think we can survive more than 5 or 10 minutes. So oxygen is very important for this. So we'll be discussing oxygen cycle today, and we know that this picture itself is showing that oxygen is present in many forms in the atmosphere. So everywhere it is oxygen. There are various gases, but oxygen which we breathe is present in many forms in the atmosphere. It can be presented in free form or dissolved in water. In both the form, the free form or the dissolved in the water. It is utilized by organism in different ways. It is needed for the process of respiration in plants and animals. Animal inhale oxygen, we inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. That carbon dioxide in the air, while plant inhale carbon dioxide and exhale oxygen during the daytime, and at night plants take oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. So during the daytime, when we inhale oxygen and give out the carbon dioxide, that carbon dioxide is being used by the plants, and that's how it is working. They give us the oxygen during daytime, and we give them the carbon dioxide. So oxygen comprises approximately 21% of Earth's atmosphere by volume. The concentration of oxygen in the atmosphere is relatively stable due to balance between oxygen producing process and oxygen consuming process. So oxygen is essential for aerobic respiration in organisms, supporting life process and atmosphere. So what are the importance of the oxygen? We know the importance of the oxygen, and during the COVID period we realize how important and how expensive is the oxygen. So oxygen is essential for aerobic respiration. It support life for aerobic organism, critical for combustion process and formation of the ozone layer, uh, participates in biogeochemical cycle, or oxygen participates in biogeochemical cycle, oxygenation of aquatic habitat, vital for soil oxygenation, aid in metabolism and growth, support oxidative process and regulate atmospheric composition. Oxygen production, we know how oxygen produced. We have some part we have studied in class 12, but still oxygen production is through the photosynthesis, through terrestrial plant, through cyanobacteria. So photosynthesis, approximately 50 to 85% of Earth's oxygen is produced by marine phytoplankton through photosynthesis. Terrestrial plants, land plants contribute to oxygen production, with forests being significant oxygen sources, accounting for about 28% of the Earth's oxygen production. So 50 to 85 from phytoplankton through photosynthesis, and 28 from Earth's oxygen production from plants. Cyanobacteria, also known as blue-green algae, play a crucial role in oxygen production, particularly in aquatic ecosystem. So we are getting more oxygen from the aquatic ecosystem as compared to the terrestrial ecosystem. And what are the uses of exercise? We know what is the uses of oxygen. We know what are the uses. Breathing, that is the one of the most important use of the oxygen. Breathing, it is physical process through which all living organisms, include plants, animal and human, inhale oxygen from the outside environment into the cells of an organism and exhale carbon dioxide back into the environment. So we inhale oxygen and we exhale carbon dioxide. This is the important use of the oxygen. The second important use is the decomposition. It is one of the natural and most important process in the oxygen cycle and occurs when an organism dies. When an organism dies, it has to decompose. If otherwise, it will be lying forever and it will be smelling like anything. So decomposition is very, very important for everything. Whichever living thing dies, it has to decompose. So decomposition, oxygen is very, very important in the decomposition. The dead animal or plant decay into the ground, and the organic matter along with the carbon, oxygen, water and other components are returned to the soil and air. The process is carried out by invertebrates including fungi, bacteria and some insects, which are collectively called as the decomposers. So decomposition is done by the decomposer. They break down the big particle into the small particle, and that's how the decomposition take place, and the entire process requires oxygen and release carbon dioxide. The whole process, the decomposition process require oxygen and it release carbon dioxide. The next use is the combustion. It is also one of the most important process which occur when any of the organic materials include fossil fuel, plastic and woods are burned in the presence of oxygen. That is called combustion. In the presence of oxygen and release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So that is the combustion. So fire takes place only in the presence of the oxygen. If you try to lit the fire in a closed compartment or closed chamber where there is no oxygen, it won't lit. So for the combustion also we need the oxygen. Next is the rusting. Rusting process also require oxygen. It is formation of oxides, which is also called oxidation. So rusting and oxidation are the same thing, and we see these kind of oxidation process on the iron rods and metallic things. So in this process, metals like iron or alloy rust when they are exposed to moisture and oxygen. For an extended period of time, new compound of oxides are formed by the combination of oxygen and the metal. If you leave the iron rod outside the house and it is lying for longer time, definitely you will find some rust. So that rust is because of the presence of the moisture and the oxygen. So that process is called as the oxidation or rusting. Oxygen transport, atmospheric diffusion, atmospheric circulation and aquatic oxygenation. These are the three methods of the oxygen transport, rather 5: oxygen in soil and human impact. So oxygen transport, oxygen diffuse from the atmosphere into surface water, facilitating oxygenation of aquatic ecosystem. Second is the atmospheric circulation, that is the atmospheric current transport oxygen molecules across regions influencing global oxygen distribution, that is the atmospheric circulation. And aquatic oxygenation is oceanic current and mixing process oxygenate deeper water layers supporting marine life and biogeochemical process. So that is the aquatic oxygenation and the oxygen in soil. The data suggests that oxygen diffuses through soil process, facilitating aerobic respiration in plants, roots and soil organisms. And the human impact, alteration in land use, pollution and climate change can disrupt. That is the human impact. So oxygen exchange with lithosphere and hydrosphere, soil oxygenation, groundwater oxygenation, oxygen in aquatic environment, sediment oxygenation, and human invention. So, the process of oxygen cycle. This is the process of oxygen cycle. The picture is showing the process of the oxygen cycle, how the animals take oxygen from the environment and environment receive oxygen from the plants, and this is how the oxygen cycle take place. In between, photosynthesis is one of the important process. The atmospheric oxygen enters the living organism as a gas required in respiration. During the process, carbon dioxide and water are formed. C6H12O6 is glucose plus oxygen. 6 molecules of oxygen makes the carbon dioxide and water and release the energy. The metabolic water thus formed is added to all other water present in the living organism, and as such it may undergo 3 possible fates. Some of it may be excreted and so added to the water content of the environment. So, some of it may be excreted and so added to the water content into the environment. Another part may be used as building material for the formation of more living matters. A third possible fate of the water within organism is its consumption as a fundamental raw material along with the carbon dioxide in photosynthesis. In this process, the oxygen is liberated as shown by the following formula. The formula is available on the screen. 6 molecules of the carbon dioxide, 6 H2O plus light energy. That give rise to glucose and the oxygen. So, in this process, oxygen is liberated as shown by the formula. Such free oxygen may now again be used in respiration. This is the oxygen we use in the respiration. We inhale, or it may be returned to the environment as molecular atmospheric oxygen, completing the cycle. Thus, oxygen enter organism only through respiration and leave through photosynthesis. This is how the oxygen works. So, oxygen enter organism only through respiration and leave through photosynthesis. In intervening steps of oxygen is incorporated in water, and in this form it can interlink with the water cycle or indirect with carbon cycle. So, the oxygen in the atmosphere is the source of ozone. We are covered with the ozone layer. Ozone is the O3. So, the oxygen in the atmosphere is the source of ozone. Ozone is O3, which actually protects us from the ultraviolet rays. The ozone layer protects organism by preventing most of the ultraviolet and X-rays from reaching the Earth's surface. They are very harmful not only to Earth but all to the human being also. The most important factor affecting the oxygen cycle of biosphere and the oxygen budget of the Earth is the man himself. So, the most important factor affecting the oxygen cycle is we are the human being are the responsible factor affecting the oxygen cycle of the biosphere and the budget of the Earth In addition to inhaling oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide, man decreases the oxygen level and increases the carbon dioxide level by burning fossil fuels. We are not only inhaling or exhaling the carbon, but also we are burning the fossil fuel. And that is actually decreasing the level of the oxygen. Reaction involved in the oxygen cycle is photosynthesis. We all have studied in class 10 what is photosynthesis. Photosynthesis takes place. Photosynthesis is the process of the food formation by the plants in presence of the sunlight and carbon dioxide. Water, carbon dioxide and sunlight. That is the requirement of the photosynthesis. So, because of this photosynthesis, what the plants get? The glucose and the oxygen. We get the oxygen and they get the glucose. Glucose and oxygen are formed. So, this formula on the screen explains carbon dioxide plus H2O, hydrogen oxide plus light energy. Light energy means sunlight, that they give rise to glucose C6H12O6 plus oxygen. So examples, a tree absorbs carbon dioxide is CO2, carbon with two molecules of the oxygen from the air, water, from the soil and sunlight energy to produce glucose and oxygen, releasing oxygen into the atmosphere, and that is the oxygen we inhale. So, this is the photosynthesis. Second is the respiration. What is respiration? So, glucose plus oxygen give rise to, when we respire, give rise to carbon dioxide and water molecules and energy. Example, a human breathes in oxygen, which is used in cellular respiration to convert glucose into carbon dioxide, water and energy for bodily function. So, this is the respiration, and respiration is human breathe oxygen, which is used in cellular respiration to convert glucose into carbon dioxide and water. That is respiration. The third is the combustion. Combustion is the burning of the organic matter, releasing CO2 and consuming O2. So, this is the organic matter releasing carbon dioxide and consuming oxygen, O2. For example, a wildfire is spread through a forest, burning tree and vegetation. The combustion of organic matter releases carbon dioxide and consumes oxygen. I had already mentioned when we need oxygen to burn something, to light a matchstick. So, the combustion of organic matter releases carbon dioxide and consumes oxygen from the air. So, that is the combustion process, burning process. And the decomposition is breakdown of the organic matter consuming oxygen. Example, microorganism in soil decomposes fallen leaves consuming oxygen. In the process, as they feed, they break down organic matter into simpler compound. So, decomposition, we have discussed touch decomposition, the breakdown of the large particle into the small particle. So, breakdown of the maintenance in soil decomposition, microorganism in the soil decompose fallen leaf consuming oxygen. In process, as they break down organic matter into simpler components. So, that is the decomposition. Impact of different activities of the oxygen cycle. What are the impact of the different activities on oxygen cycle? And those activities are deforestation and oxygen depletion. Deforestation means we are actually removing the green vegetation from the earth, which actually produce the oxygen. So, deforestation and oxygen depletion is the synonym. So, deforestation may reduce photosynthesis activity, lead to decreased oxygen production. For example, Amazon rainforest, we are cutting the rainforest, we are cutting the green vegetation, and these green vegetation because of this photosynthesis, they release the oxygen that is lacking. Eutrophication and hypoxia. Eutrophication means microbial decomposition of algae depletes oxygen level, causing hypoxia like Gulf of Mexico death zone. The third impact of different activities on oxygen cycle is ocean acidification. Reduce calcification rates and coral bleaching events, for example, coral reef. So, ocean acidification, because of that, the Great Barrier Reef is threatened and endangered, and we need the conservation effort to conserve the Great Barrier Reef. That is one of the largest coral reef in the Australian region. So, oceanic acidification is one of the important impact which is actually influencing the oxygen, that is reduced calcification rates and coral bleaching events, and that is, for example, coral reef. Great Barrier Reef is again a coral reef. Industrial pollution. Industry is the backbone of any country, and industry is the more minerals and industry we have, the more and more powerful we will be, because US is having maximum the large quantity of the minerals, and they have industries, and that is why in the power they are number one. So industrial, but these power are not coming alone, they are also bringing the pollution. So industrial pollution, elevated level of air pollutant decreases oxygen availability. What are the solution to restore enhance oxygen cycle? What are the solution? The ultimate solution is the reforestation initiative. Reforestation means planting more and more plants, enhanced carbon sequestration, biodiversity conservation, and ecosystem restoration. This is what the deforestation initiative do. They enhance carbon sequestration. More the trees means more carbon sequestration, more carbon absorption by the trees. Biodiversity conservation, ecosystem restoration. Second is the sustainable agriculture practices, definitely minimizing eutrophication, improve ecosystem health, and enhanced food security is one of the um, alternative for the sustainable enhancing oxygen cycle. And the third is the marine protected area, enhance fish population, coral reefs resilience, and marine habitat protection. So these are the solution to restore, enhance oxygen cycle, and renewable energy transition and environmental education and awareness. So renewable energy transition is reduce fossil fuel combustion, improved air quality, and climate stabilization. So these are the sources by which we can actually enhance oxygen cycle. And last is the environmental education and awareness. Whatever we do, until unless the local community are with us or they are helping us in actually conserving the oxygen, we cannot do. We have to stop the tree cutting. We have to stop the eutrophication. If not to stop, at least control the eutrophication. We know we are dependent on the natural resources, whether it's oxygen, water, or the timber. So timber is also required. The trees are also required for the human being, but we have to do in a sustainable manner. So empowered citizen, informed decision making, and community engagement is the environmental education, and comes under the environmental education and awareness. The conclusion is that the oxygen cycle is vital for sustaining life on earth, regulating oxygen flow across ecosystem. Interconnected with other biogeochemical cycle, it influences ecosystem dynamic and stability. Understanding and safeguarding the oxygen cycle are paramount for preserving Earth's health and biodiversity. Without oxygen, we cannot think any living organism to sustain to survive on the Earth. Plants also need the oxygen in the form of the carbon dioxide. They get oxygen from us, carbon dioxide from us, and they give us the oxygen. So, understanding and safeguarding the oxygen cycle are paramount for preventing Earth's health and biodiversity. So, with this, I end up my this lecture that is about the oxygen cycle, and by now we understand how we get the oxygen. There are different processes. The photosynthesis process. So, photosynthesis in presence of the sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. So, this picture is explaining plant create oxygen with photosynthesis, and we inhale oxygen. This is the complete oxygen cycle. Thank you very much, students. We will be meeting our next class. Thank you.